Welcome back to Speedicalc. So this is week 3. And so if you haven't seen the other videos, which was planning week 0 and the active week 1, which is the start of the project, and week 2, which is getting deeper into the project, this is week 3, where now what we're going to show is let's show a scenario where we get a change order. Okay. And so you follow the sequence that we just did in the previous videos and just go through that whole process over and over until the end of the project, from week 1 to week 2, or this one that we'll show here, week 2 to week 3. And but we're going to go ahead and show a change order, and we're going to show actually these weighted percentages as well in this video. Okay, so what we're going to do is 2 different scenarios for a change order. One could be the cost of an activity increased. So we could say, okay, so now we're at 150 grand on this one. Well, this one may be done. Let's do one that's maybe more in the active phase. So we go ahead and we're going to go to the next week. We are in the 2nd week. We want to go to the 3rd week. So let's go up to the 28th. That's the month, Sunday, up to August 3rd. So say 8/3. Saturday, maybe we do Friday. So August 2nd, we're in week 3. Critical path is the same, meaning the sequence of activities has not changed. We are going to say that in this 2nd week of August, which is the last activity, is that we maybe have another 50 grand for some reason. So that means that we just have to, if I can do it right, we update this, meaning the budget's been approved and it's in our budget now. If it hasn't been approved, you wouldn't want to put it here. And if you did it on here, let's just say, let's go back to 400. Let's go to our inputs. We're at week 3. Let's say this is done and that last 2% happened as needed. We delete that one. Our 50 grand was paid. So we get rid of that in the forecast. We're still planning to pay that 20 grand later. Let's say this one, the 8% was done. Let's get rid of that. 63 grand as expected. Let's say that's done. Assuming the plan baseline hasn't changed. Now we're in our last activity. We have a change order. Percent can't change, right? So, or we're not in the last activity yet. Let's say activity C, all this happened as planned. Okay. And then activity D. So here we are. So we plan to do 100, and let's say whatever this quantity is, it could have increased, right? So let's say if you wanted to change that, and let's say it was 150, then it's gonna have that here, but it's gonna say, hey, it was supposed to be 1,000. This 1,000 won't change until you change it here on the plan. So what I would say for the program, for the sake of everything, is this represents what's really happened, right? So if you have not gotten an approval for a change order, meaning money or quantity or whatever hasn't been authorized, I would say leave it. Don't, because until it's been revised and approved, you shouldn't be changing this. And then when you do get approval, then you can change it. That'll give you the best representation in your charts and schedules, right? So, but let's say that we did get approval. We say, oh, this, we have this change order. This is the case. We have 150. We have 50 more than planned. But now we got approval. So let's go to here and say we added it here. And then when we go here, that disappeared because now we're where we're supposed to be, right? 150 grand went up to 200 grand. And let's say everything else is the same. Oh, this is red and saying it's supposed to be 400 until we say it's approved for 450. Okay. And that's what I would do, the grand scheme of things. Now this shows red until we update the plan. You can leave it to say, well, we planned this much, and then this calls it out and says, well, above is what it should be. Well, it should be now, but before it was this. So this pretty much flags it. So something that you can look back on. Also, if you remember at the end of the last video when we said how we want to save it, when you have something like this is one reason why you may want to save week by week by week, right? Because this way you could go back and see, well, what happened the previous week, and then as things evolve and change, you can always have a record of that. But at the end of the project, you'll have absolutely everything. Okay, so that's it for. Oh, one more thing, right? For change order. So that's one scenario. The second scenario that I wanted to mention, let's say we add an activity. So say we have an activity E. Now we just added a WBS item, and now we're over 100. So this is also where I want to show the weight and the total percentage. So let's say that this is, just for the sake of this demo, let's say that this is a structure, okay? So let's say this is a foundation of the structure. Let's say that this is the interior, we'll call it exterior walls. And let's call C the interior walls. And let's call D the roof. So this gives us a structure, right? But now let's say, okay, we want to add landscaping to this. So now we have added scope and we have landscaping. Okay, but we have 100%. We need to add this into our 100%. This means you need to do an adjustment of your activities. What you should be doing is really of what you have of your remaining activities at this point in time. Prior to the project, the best situation is that you have assigned percentages adjusted properly. But once you're done, right? Now you can adjust them as you want. You can use this as you wish. It's your calculator and you know your project best. But let's just say we're going to go ahead. Well, I guess it is all the same project. Let's say we whittle this down and we say, okay, this is the same, and we say 24%. 24%. That leaves us 3%. Or maybe you want to leave this at 25 and this is 2%. Okay? Because to think about how you do importance factor and the weight, what the weight is of an activity, which is the importance factor, is what the value is to your entire project as a whole. So in this example of a structure, when we're done with the structure, you can move in, you can live there, you have shelter from the the rain, whatever it is, the elements, and landscaping can be done later. So it's not priority in the sense that it doesn't have a high importance value, but it is part of the project. So you can't leave it out. It's in part of there. You can't be 100% done with your project until you finish the full scope. So you have to include a percentage. Now you could put 0.05%, oops. You could do that, and you could adjust these. You can do whatever you want. But the point is, it needs to be part of the schedule or the project, and you need to include it in here so that it's within the 100%, which is the entire project, right? Okay. Now you can do whatever you want. You know your project best, right? But let's just, for the sake of the program, we're just going to add this. Say it takes 5 days to do it. Okay, so 5 days. We're going to say it's a percentage of work to be done. So that's 100. We're going to say it's 40 grand to do everything. And we'll do the same thing. So, or we'll just call it the same dates. So we'll say this is the same as this date. It's plus it's 5 days, right? It's 100% and say 40 grand. Keep it the same. All right. So there we are. So that's done. We have the change order, but now because we added an activity, we have to update our critical path method, which means it comes after one of the activities in our project. We're going to say it's at the end of the roof process, and so it's the predecessor is this one. And now because it's this, we check all of our activities, and everything needs to connect properly. You can't leave it open-ended unless you say this is a standalone project that's not really related, and that in this case you could just leave it out entirely and you could do it independently. You could do that. So we could leave it out, but for this, just for the sake of the example, it would make sense actually maybe in this case to do that. But for this demo, let's connect it to another activity. So that means that we've added it to something else. And so a good way to do a check on your critical path, and it is important, because when you start getting a ton of these activities, you can go cross-eyed sometimes with all the activities that you're following on a project. So on the critical path, to make sure that everything's accounted for properly or connected properly, is to just kind of look at what you have here on your predecessor side. Of course, we know there's nothing before the very first activity. So we look at B, and so 1 is here. So that the 2 here means that 2 needs to be connected to this 1. So we go over to 1, and there's the 2. Same situation. So here's a 1 under our 3. So that means for 1, this one, we need to have a 3. And there it is. Go down to D, and we have a 2, 3. So for the 4, let's see, this one's connected, 4 and 4, 4, 2, and 3. Now we come over to the 5, and we see that we have 5. We should have this 4 should have a 5. So we come over here, it's not selected yet. So if this is selected, that means it needs to be connected. So that means we need to say yes over here. Now everything is connected. So let's go to our critical path on the data file. Let's go here, click, and now we have another activity, and everything goes back to 1. Okay, and these dates have been added, so you can see that here, and it's automatically done for you. Now let's go to the inputs, because we have another activity, and let's scroll over to activity E, landscaping, and we have our dates of when it's going to be done right here. So it's going to be this week, and it's going to be in the future because the yellow line's here, so it's going to be a forecast, and we're going to say 50% and then 50%, and then for the cost we'll pay 20 grand, 20 grand. Okay, and we'll just copy everything over. So we can say copy, and we can, don't just paste it, paste the value so you don't mess up conditional formatting and things like that. Otherwise it could get, maybe look sloppy. So that's done. We're all done. We've done our change order. Now all we want to do is we want to look at the data. So the data, and see how it's changed. So let's go to our dashboard. Let's see what's been updated. So we have to look like we're doing good. We're in the green. This is our earned value, actual cost, planned value. These are the scenarios side by side, and this is the percent completion, budget, and schedule. Okay, so budget totals with the percent of what that is. And then let's go to our CNSPI. Those just updated, boom, all across the board. And now we have landscaping that popped up down here. It hasn't started yet. Okay, Gantt chart has been updated. That's been added. We see it's here. Our earned value charts as well, right? And all we need to do on this one is double click, and we just need to put our timeline. Double click 24. Can do it. And then we'll do a 924. Okay. Now you can see this line here. Okay. And then you follow suit for everything else, right? You want to do landscaping again. When you scroll up, if you don't see it change, you just need to get it out of the picture, put it back in the picture, like meaning this out of the picture, back in the picture, it pops up. So there it is, it's done. And then we follow suit all the way across, right? For all the charts, we do that same thing. Critical path has been updated, we just saw that. And then your WBS information, all your project info, that is provided, pulled over, along with the update on all these activities and how they roll into your overall project. And now we're good. Now you've done a full project. Well, we haven't gotten all the way through it, but you know how to get through it. You know how to do a change order and view the status of your project, right? And look at all the charts, and you can identify the health of your project and see how things are going, which will give you more success on your projects and allow you more time to focus on your projects instead of taking time to do key performance indicators and charts and graphs and anything else, you know, to help you manage your project. Now you have that ability to better manage your project because you have the information that you need. You have an excellent tool to actually follow your project. And again, at the end of your project, you have something that you can hand over at the end. Another thing is this is consistent, right? So when you have multiple projects, then you have this level of consistency where you can easily identify project A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, and you can quickly look through them and understand the health of projects versus trying to interpret multiple project managers' idea of how to create information, ever-changing things, you know, maybe in your company where you have old stuff, new stuff. This has everything that you need, and it's consistent. And therefore, if you have a similar project as well, and you need to reference it, you have all this data. You can say, what did we do before? And you'll be able to see it. And again, if you save it, like I said before, week by week, or as you think you need periodically, then you will have the information that you need to do your next project, and again, build on that to have success. So best of luck. Hope everything goes well on all your projects, and we'll see you in the other videos, okay? Thank you.